Hi everyone, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. So today I'm making a house for the Parenthood game pack because that just came out last week, and I've been really looking forward to making a house using the items because so many of them looked amazing. And for this house, I decided to go with kind of a typical suburban style because I felt like that was a really good style for a family home. And with this house, I was originally trying to base it off of a floor plan because I just really wanted this house to look realistic. But when I had my first attempt at this house, I tried to follow the floor plan to a T as best I could, and unfortunately the house just ended up looking really blocky and weird because I found that sometimes when you try to make a house in The Sims based off a real house, like the real house will look amazing and, beautiful and all that, and then when you try to recreate it, it just looks like a mess because there's some things that you can do in real life that you can't do in The Sims, so then it just looks weird when you try to convert it. So yeah, that can be a bit frustrating, but in my second attempt to make the house, which is what you're seeing here, I kind of based it off of that floor plan, but then I tweaked some things to make it look a bit better in the game. Like I made it a little bit smaller so that the windows fit in better, because I think I just mapped out or just made a 4 by 5 tile or 6 tile bedroom up there, like what I'm doing now. And originally it was like 5 tiles wide, so then the windows just kind of centered in it weird, so then I just made it a little bit smaller, which was good because it actually made the house take a bit less time to furnish. And then I also had some more protrusions along the front of the house so it wasn't so flat looking. But yeah, I'll put a link to the floor plan I based this off of in the description in case you want to see it and kind of see what I was working with. And actually, if you're someone who is pretty new to building and you're trying to get better at it, it's actually really helpful to make homes based off of floor plans, because that's something that I did a lot when I was first getting into building, because I had a lot of problems with arranging with making the layout of the house and then kind of getting the scale of it right, because when you're just starting out, it's kind of easy to end up just making houses that are really huge, and then it's kind of hard to fill in the space. Like that was a problem that I had years ago when I first started building, and just trying to follow layouts just helps so much with just kind of getting the sizing of homes right. I mean, that might not work for everyone, but that was something that was so helpful for me. And then as I got better at building, I moved away from doing that more and more as I got more comfortable just kind of coming up with my own designs for builds. Although I still look at pictures for inspiration a lot, but I don't just straight up follow floor plans that often anymore, although it's still a fun challenge to do from time to time. But yeah, that's a tip. Like whenever people ask me, for tips to help them when they're starting out building, that's always a tip I give, because that was just something that helped me so much, although it can be kind of tricky to convert the dimensions of the rooms into sim walls, because I think what I usually use is that one sim wall is 2 to 3 feet, and I just kind of go with whichever depending on what I feel will get the room to scale the best. So I guess you could kind of go with that each wall is about 2.5 feet, and then if you're in a country that doesn't use the imperial measurement system, which I think is like pretty much every country other than the US, then I'm not really sure what a conversion from meters to that is, but I don't know, you could probably just convert 2.5 feet to meters and then get it that way. But then yeah, hopefully that's helpful a little bit. So here we're working on the wallpaper, and I really wanted to use that stone wallpaper that came with the bowling stuff pack, but I was having a bit of trouble finding some wallpapers that went with it well at first, so I went away from that for a bit, and then I just stuck this brick all over the house and put some brown siding with it. And I stuck with that for a bit, but then I realized that that was the exact same combination of wallpapers that I used on that one suburban house that I made a couple years ago. It was the one that I did in the Let's Build. Some of you might remember that. And I was actually kind of getting a little bit of deja vu from that, because this is actually on the same lot that I built that house on. Although this house doesn't look the exact same as that one does, it's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit differently shaped, but still it's just really reminding me of that house. And even though I guess it looks good like this, I didn't want it to look so similar to how that house looks, so I ended up going back in and changing the wallpaper to something completely different. So I did end up using that one stone wallpaper from the bowling stuff pack in the end, and then I ended up just pairing it with, I think it was the wood, one of the wood panelings that came with Spa Day. It was a dark blue one, and that ended up looking really good. So I think soon is where I'm going to go back and start doing that. I think the blue and stone ended up making the house look a little bit more colorful than it does now. So it's probably for the best that I changed it. Oh yeah, before doing that, I did the whole stripy lawn thing that I've done in houses before. So you just put some floor tile down to kind of guide you, and then you just put a darker grass down, a stripe pattern. It kind of gives it that look of just manicured, mowed lawn. And I actually got that trick from someone that I did a collab with a couple years ago. Yeah, it was a house that I did called Parkside Manor, and yeah, that's just a neat little trick for getting a manicured look. And here's where I'm putting in the wallpaper that I ended up going with. This house actually took me quite a while to finish, which is why it was split into two parts, because I probably spent 8 to 10 hours working on this house, probably closer to 10 hours just because of how much furnishing I had to do with this house, because, you know, you've got the 2 floors, and then I think I already put the basement in at this point, but there's also a basement floor too, so that was 3 whole floors that I had to furnish, and I just really took my time with furnishing because I was exploring the new items, and I just really wanted to be detailed with it. So because of that, I ended up with 46 minutes of footage, and only 12 minutes of that was the outside, so that's like 34 minutes of just furnishing the house. And I could have put it all in one video, but I didn't really want to speed it up too much to the point where you get a headache watching it and it's hard to follow. And also, I find it hard to just do 46 minutes worth of commentary at once, so it's a little bit less daunting to split into 2 parts and do the commentary for one part one day and then the commentary for the next part on another day. And my goal was to have the video for the second part up on Thursday, but I'm not exactly sure if that's gonna happen, because my plan was to record the commentary for the second part tomorrow, which is actually the day that this is going up because I'm currently recording this Monday night. But today at work, I found out last minute that I have to go to a site tomorrow, which means that rather than going to the office, I have to travel somewhere, and I have to be there at 6-ish, so that means I have to get up at 4 in the morning, and I usually get up at 7:30, so that is not going to go well. So I am probably going to get hardly any sleep tonight, and then I'm probably going to get stuck in a ton of traffic going there and back because the area it's in is super congested, and rush hour starts at like 2 o'clock, so even though I'm probably going to get there at 6 and beat the traffic in the morning, it might take me like 2 or 3 hours to get home. Hopefully not, but it might. So just, you know, between being sleep deprived and grumpy from the annoying commute, I'm not sure that I'm really gonna feel up to recording commentary, because I don't want to sound like I'm half asleep and hating life. And then Wednesday, I've got something going on after work, so unless that's canceled, I can't do it that night. And then Thursday, I get to get up at 4 in the morning again to go to another site, so I don't know how up to recording I'm gonna feel then, although maybe by then I'll be a little bit more used to getting up early, so I won't be quite as tired and I can record the commentary then and then get up on Friday. We'll see, but yeah, sorry about that. I would just rather wait till I'm in a good mood to record commentary rather than recording while I'm really tired and just ending up with something that I don't like and don't really want to put up. But yeah, hopefully it'll be up, you know, later this week or this weekend. I'm gonna try to get up as soon as possible. But with the backyard of this house, I really wanted to use a bunch of stuff from the backyard stuff pack, because for a while now, I have been really wanting to make just a cute family home with a bunch of the stuff that came with that stuff pack, but I never ended up doing that. And then Parenthood came out, so I thought it'd be cool to make a house with the backyard stuff in the backyard and then the Parenthood stuff on the inside of it. So it was fun getting to use those items. So right here I'm just putting in, or I was just putting in one of the slip and slides, and then we've got the umbrella table out there, which, no, I think I have used that in a build before. I think I used that in the bowling alley I made, but yeah, I definitely haven't used that stuff enough, and I really like it, so it's kind of a shame that I haven't really used it much. And I actually made the outside of this house before Parenthood came out, because I figured there wasn't going to be a whole lot of stuff for the outside of houses that was going to come with this game pack, so I figured it was fine to just do the whole interior before it came out, so that, or not the whole interior, the whole exterior before it came out, so that I could finish the house a bit more quickly after it came out, because all I would have to do is the interior. And the game pack did come with new windows, but I didn't change the windows I had on the house to those ones, because I thought that the windows I had on the house looked pretty good as it was, and, you know, there wasn't really a need to change them. I thought that, you know, what I had looked a bit better than how it would look if I tried to use those windows. And this was actually my second try at doing the backyard, because the first time I did it, I had the pool where it was when I first put it down, where it was kind of in the center of the yard, but then by doing that, it kind of made these weird narrow areas around it. Like you just had a narrow area on each side of it and then a narrow area behind it. That was just really difficult to fill in. So I ended up just scrapping that first attempt at the backyard. I cut out the video because I didn't really feel like there was a need to put in 5 minutes of me doing the backyard only to just completely redo everything. But yeah, I found that doing the backyard this way with a pool just in a corner made it so that the layout was a bit better. And there is still some empty space in the yard, so that if you want to have your Sims do the rocket school project, there's plenty of space for them to put it outside. And I don't think any of the other school projects really needed to be done outside. I think it was just, I'm pretty sure it's just that one. I don't know, maybe one of the other ones needed to be done outside. But yeah, there's some space in the yard if you want to do that outside, or maybe just put some other stuff in the yard. And this house can fit a pretty large family, so it has 4 bedrooms, although only 3 of the bedrooms are up on the 2nd floor, and then there's a 4th bedroom in the basement. And I furnished that one as a teen room because, you know, I figure it would make the most sense to put that in the basement because, you know, I could see a teen more so wanting to be downstairs and away from their parents to kind of have a little bit more freedom in that way. Although there definitely are downsides to having a room in the basement, like the lack of sunlight. Also, basements can be kind of musty sometimes. And if you're like my mom, you'll end up with the lifelong fear of crickets from having a room in the basement. Because when my mom was a teenager, she had a room in the basement, and my grandparents' house, for some reason, has a bunch of crickets in the basement. And my mom said that she hates crickets so much because the floor in the basement was hard, so she could hear them plopping on the floor throughout the night, and then she could also hear them chirping throughout the night. It kind of kept her up a little bit. And she said that one time she woke up and there was a cricket right on her nose, so the first thing she saw as soon as she opened her eyes was just this cricket right in her face. So yeah, I can understand her having a hatred for crickets. They can be kind of annoying sometimes, and she's fine with crickets that are outside where they should be, but it's just like when they get into the house, she freaks out a little bit and just wants them gone. Like whenever she hears a cricket, she just wants to leave the room and get away from wherever the cricket is. And naturally, when my brother and I were younger, we used this fear of crickets of hers to mess with her a little bit, because I remember that we had this keychain that made cricket noises, and I don't remember who gave it to us or if it was given to us with the knowledge that my mom hates crickets. I kind of think it might have been because my brother and I weren't really, like, obsessed with insects and crickets and stuff, so I don't think anyone would see a cricket keychain and be like, hey, Ashley and her brother would totally be into this. So I feel like it might have been given to us because of that. And my mom hated that thing because we used to try to use it to mess with her. Like, one of us would hide and, you know, like, somewhere nearby with it, and the other one would go up to our mom, and, you know, the one would hit the button to make the cricket noises, and then the other would be like, hey, Mom, there's a cricket nearby. And then eventually she, you know, like, after doing that a few times, she could easily tell the difference between this keychain and a regular cricket. But yeah, I'm pretty sure she hated whoever gave us that keychain, or wasn't very happy with them. I don't remember who it was. Maybe my brother and I picked it out. I don't remember. I just remember it looked kind of like a cricket sitting on top of a log. Like, I very vaguely remember what it looked like. And then one of my cousins also liked to perform cricket pranks on my mom, so she would sometimes try to do stuff with the keychain, which the keychain never really worked after a while because my mom figured it out. But she would also do stuff like, she would go to my mom with her hands cupped like there was something inside of her, and she'd be like, hey, guess what I have? And then, you know, act like she's gonna throw it at my mom, like she's throwing a cricket at her. But then, you know, after doing that a few times, that didn't really work on my mom, because she's like, I know you don't have a cricket, you wouldn't do that to me. But one time she maybe took the cricket pranks a little bit too far, because she has a bearded dragon and she feeds it freeze-dried crickets. And one time my mom just left her purse sitting on a counter and wasn't really paying attention to it. So my cousin thought it'd be funny to dump some of the crickets near her purse, so that when my mom went to go get her purse, she'd just see these dead crickets near it. And my mom was not happy when she went to go get her purse and saw that, and she ended up just disinfecting her purse, even though she didn't put the crickets right on the purse, or just kind of near it. But my mom still disinfected, like, wiped down her purse with Clorox wipes just in case any cricket essence got on it. But in the end, she wasn't really that upset about it, because my mom's got a pretty good sense of humor about stuff like that. So in the end, she just ended up laughing about it. I remember she was kind of laughing as she was cleaning off her purse. But yeah, that cousin who did that, she's always been kind of a prankster. Like, she always just likes messing with people. I mean, it's all in good humor, though. She doesn't do it to be mean. But yeah, I have talked about her before in videos, because if you've seen a video where I talked about how I had a cousin who convinced me that you could kill Sims by having them fall down railings, or no, having them fall down stairs that don't have railings. Yeah, that was her, because she also played The Sims when we were younger, and she used to tell me that you could do things in the original Sims that you couldn't do, and then I would just kind of sit there and try to replicate it, and then it would never work. And yeah, she also, like, when we were younger, she also used to tell us, like, just kind of, like, make up other stuff to mess with us a little bit. Like, I remember one time she was trying to convince my brother and I that Britney Spears was a child-eating robot, because this was back in, I guess, like the late 90s, when Britney Spears was just starting to get famous, like back when her first or second album or whatever was out. And I don't remember if I was obsessed with Britney Spears, but I know I like listened to her music a lot. So yeah, she was trying to convince us that she was a child-eating robot, and I don't know why she said that, but I like to think that I didn't believe that. And some of the interactions that came with Parenthood that you can have siblings do with each other, like the ones where you can try to convince them that the earth is flat or everyone is a robot, reminded me a lot of that, because that's some of the stuff that my cousin would try telling me just to joke around. And my brother and I didn't really do that with each other much, because we were pretty close in age. We're only a year apart, so I feel like we didn't have quite the right dynamic to pull that off, because I feel like that's something, like, just convincing your sibling of ridiculous things is something that works a little bit better when there's more of an age gap, you know, because if you have like the cool older sibling who's like 4 or 5 years older than you, then you just kind of think because they're so much older they're a little bit wiser, and I guess you're a little bit more likely to believe what they tell you. But yeah, that's what my cousin did, because she we were around her a lot when we were younger. She lived close to us, so she's kind of like that older sibling who would try to mess with you in a way, because she's 5 years older than me. But yeah, that's part of why I like Parenthood so much, because just some of like the interactions that you could do just kind of reminded me, you know, just kind of brought back some childhood memories. Although, I don't know, it kind of sucks that some of them are just the same interactions but with new text. But then I think there were a few of the interactions that had new animations to go with them. And something else I was wishing was that you could have family members or like siblings prank each other. I don't think you can do that. I've only played with the pack for a few hours, but I don't remember seeing anything where you could have siblings prank each other, although there was the flick nose interaction, which I guess is kind of like that thing. But I feel like that'd be so perfect, because you know siblings tend to prank each other a bit. Like, I know when I was younger, I pranked my brother a few times. I remember this one time when I was 9 or 10, when my brother was outside doing something, and we still had to pack our lunches for school the next day. So since my brother was busy, my mom asked me to pack my brother's lunch for him. And for, I guess, a few days before this, I had this idea in my head that it would be really funny if I just put a whole packet of Taco Bell sauce in some of his food that really would not go well with Taco Bell sauce, because he just had these packets sitting around the kitchen. I saw them one morning as we're eating our oatmeal together before going to school, and I got in my head that it'd be funny if I put that in his oatmeal, but I didn't really get enough time where he was distracted where I could just pour it all in his oatmeal and stir it up, so it didn't look like there was a big glob of something in there that wasn't in there before. But when my parents asked me to pack his lunch, I realized this was the perfect opportunity to put the hot sauce in his food. So when I went to go make a sandwich, it was a PB&J sandwich, so I put the Taco Bell sauce on the bread first, and then I put the peanut butter over, and then the jelly, so I made him a nice peanut butter jelly and hot sauce sandwich, and I thought it was hilarious and the greatest thing ever. And then, of course, because of that, when I went to school the next day, I bragged to everyone I could about how I put hot sauce in my brother's PB&J sandwich. And we were both at the same, we were in elementary school, so we were both at the same school. So at the end of the day, when we were waiting outside to be picked up, one of the classmates who I had told about this told my brother as soon as he walked up that I put hot sauce in his sandwich. And he was not happy about it. He was just like, "Oh, I knew something's wrong with my sandwich. It tasted gross. I'm telling mom and dad." So he told my parents as soon as he could, and then my punishment was to eat my very own PB&J and hot sauce sandwich. But luckily for me, I used the last hot sauce packet on his sandwich, so my mom said to instead use some of the like Frank's Red Hot type stuff. And she said that since that was stronger than the Taco Bell stuff, that I didn't have to put as much on it. So I took that as just put a drop on the sandwich. So I think I just put like a drop or two on the sandwich, and it was so little that I couldn't even taste it at all. So I ended up getting off pretty much scot-free because I mean I just got a nice PB&J sandwich as my punishment. I had to make it, but still I got some food. And I remember as I was eating it, my mom asked me how the sandwich was, and I didn't really think about it. I was like, oh, it's good. And she's like, wait, what? It's good? And I was like, oh, I mean it's horrible. This is absolutely awful. And she's like, yeah, that's right. And I don't know if she bought it. I mean, she didn't say anything else about it, and like if she had realized that, you know, I had not put enough hot sauce in, I think she would have said something about it. I think she just kind of figured that I just said it was good as a reaction, because, you know, usually when someone asks you how something is, you just kind of say it's good without really thinking about it. And I can't remember if I ever told her since then that I put hardly any hot sauce on the sandwich, so I didn't even taste it, but maybe I did. I don't think I mean, obviously now, like 15 or more than 15 years later, she probably wouldn't really care, but I think I told her about it at one point. Anyway, getting back to the build, as you can see, we are working on the more informal dining area, and in this part, I just furnished the first floor of the house, so the next part will be furnishing the upper floor and then the basement. But with the main area of the house, I was trying to go for more of a neutral color scheme, although there's a few pops here and there, like with the orange on the couch. But in the area for the kids, there's a bit more color. Like right now I'm working on what's supposed to be a kids play area, and this room is a lot more colorful than the main area, so it's definitely a contrast. And then once I get to the upper floor, the landing area up there is a bit more neutral, and then the master bedroom is a bit more neutral with the color scheme, but then the kids' rooms are a lot more colorful. And I really like all the new kitchen stuff that came with this game pack. Like, I've really been wanting counters like those counters for so long, and then the backsplash is just amazing, and I'm gonna be using it on pretty much every kitchen, because that's just, like, that set of kitchen stuff, like the, you know, the cabinets and counters and the backsplash is stuff that I've been wanting for so long, because I think I've said in other videos that I really wish that they had a tiled wall that only went up to where cabinets start, rather than up the whole wall, and they finally added it in, so I'm just gonna be using those backsplashes so much, and I just really like the style that they're in. Oh, and another cool thing about this house that you probably noticed is that the living area is a 2-level living area, which I really like the look of it, and how there's just this balcony from the upstairs area that looks down onto it, although something that really annoyed me was that some of the roof popped through, and that just, that drives me nuts, but there's unfortunately not really anything that I can do about it because of how the roofing in this game works, so I just left it. But yeah, unfortunately, you can see it in the video clips that are going to be at the end of the next part. So it kind of ruins the whole area a little bit. I mean, it's just a small thing, but it kind of, you know, it kind of messes it up a little bit. So yeah, unfortunately, that's the only problem with trying to do 2-floor open areas like that. But yeah, other than that, it turned out pretty well. And with this play area that I'm working on right now, I just really wanted to have this bright and cheery look to it, and I was trying to add in some different colors to it. Like we have the bright blue on the walls, and then some pinks and purples, and some light greens throughout, and I really like how it turns out in the end. I also added in some of the new items that came with the Parenthood game pack, like the Lego table, and when I first saw that in the build catalog, I noticed that it said toddlers only, which I thought was kind of weird, but I learned since then that apparently that's because toddlers are the only one who can build skills from it. I think, like, I heard someone saying that's why it says toddlers only, but that I think that toddlers can only work on it after someone starts it. I'm not completely sure. I haven't actually tried that myself, but that's what I heard from somewhere. So yeah, apparently kids can do it, but they don't really gain a skill from it. But here we're moving on to the study, because I thought it'd be nice to just have a little study off the foyer as you walk in, I guess, where someone could meet with clients, because I set it up in that, you know, setup I've done a bunch of times where you just have the desk facing, you know, out towards the door or whatever, and then there's some chairs facing it, so I guess they could have meetings and that sort of thing. Yeah, this room actually came together pretty quickly, but I mean, then again, that's just because it's really small, so there's not really a whole lot to it, but in the end, it ends up looking pretty nice. We're just getting those fancy leather chairs in here. And then I saw this lamp that came with Get Together that I actually don't think I've ever used before. Like, I just completely forgot that that was a thing that was in this game. And then I used some of the other business career stuff like the nameplate and the pie chart. And then I was trying to figure out what to do with the wall opposite the window. So I thought it would look nice if I just put some certificates and diplomas and stuff like that up there. So that is pretty much it for this room. And the only other room left, or no, there actually are 2 other rooms left to furnish on this floor. So we got this little half bathroom over here, not really a whole lot to it. And then that one room on the outside is supposed to be kind of like a sunroom or an outdoor gardening area. That's kind of a weird space because I just tacked it onto the side of the house just to break up the one wall that was straight, because I don't like it when I have too long of a wall that's just straight with nothing coming out of it to add more interest to it. So I just tacked that room onto the side of it to make it look a little bit better, and I tried to make it so you could get into it from the house, but I really wanted to have the half bathroom there, and then it didn't really work to have a door going from the living room off to it, so you can only get to it from the deck, which is kind of weird, but oh well. But anyway, we are almost at the end of the video, so I just want to mention that if you want to download this, it is up for download, so there'll be a link in the description to download, and there'll be stuff in there on how to find it in-game. And yeah, that's all I have to say, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and bye!